The wind knifed across the barren land as Leah pushed another splintered board into place, her fingers raw and trembling from the cold. Yet she refused to stop, not today, not when every minute mattered and every blow of her hammer was a fight against the shadows of the past that tried to swallow her whole. The broken barn behind her creaked like an old, dying animal, while snowflakes drifted from a sky too grey to promise mercy. Her husband Caleb had died last winter on this same land, buried beneath a sudden storm that caught him in the northern field, leaving her alone with debts, a collapsing house, and a heart that pulsed between grief and survival. Now she was trying to rebuild a small shed, just enough to store the little feed she had left for her goats, scraping together what remained of her life with rotting boards and rusted nails she found scattered around the property. Every strike of the hammer echoed across the lonely fields, bouncing off the empty house that once smelled like coffee, laughter and Caleb's boots on the wood floor. She bit her lip hard enough to taste blood as the board cracked under her grip. Another broken piece, another setback, but she forced it into place because she had no choice. Giving up would mean losing everything. Her breath formed clouds in the air as she leaned her forehead against the cold wood and whispered, "Caleb, I'm trying," unaware that someone was standing behind her, watching her with a mix of guilt, sorrow, and something heavier that the winter wind carried straight into her bones. It was Eli, Caleb's brother, the man who vanished from their lives long before Caleb died, the man who had returned 3 days ago without warning, leaving Leah stunned and suspicious. He stood tall, shoulders squared like a soldier returning from war, though his eyes revealed a man who had fought battles he'd never spoken of. Leah had seen him earlier near the porch, hovering as though he wanted to speak, but couldn't force the words out. Now he stood just a few feet away, his boots sinking into the half-frozen mud as he watched her struggle with boards that were as broken as the life she was trying to rebuild. Leah felt his presence heavy on her back, but refused to turn around. She didn't want pity, didn't want help, didn't want reminders of Caleb, all of which Eli carried just by standing there. Her hands shook as she lifted another board, this one warped at the ends, but she forced it against the frame and raised the hammer. Her grip faltered when Eli finally spoke, his voice low, deep, and carrying years of regret. "You don't have to do this alone." The hammer slipped from her cold fingers and hit the ground, the sound sharper than the wind. Leah inhaled, chest tight, and whispered without looking at him, "I've been doing it alone since Caleb died." "Where were you then?" Silence. Long, agonizing silence. Eli stepped closer, the scent of dust and worn leather drifting with him. "Running," he admitted quietly. "From my own mistakes, from him, from everything." Leah clenched her jaw, 1,000 angry replies rising. But grief twisted them into one trembling question. Why come back now? He didn't answer, maybe because he didn't know, maybe because guilt had dragged him home just as surely as grief had chained her there. She finally turned, her eyes sharp with exhaustion, pain carved into every line of her face. Eli's gaze dropped to her red, cracked hands. Without asking, he bent down, lifted the fallen hammer, and held it out to her. But she didn't take it. She hated how the sight of him, Caleb's dark hair, Caleb's jawline, Caleb's stubborn posture, brought back memories she had tried so hard to bury. The two brothers arguing on the porch, Caleb shouting, Eli driving away on a motorcycle that disappeared in a storm of dust. She swallowed hard. "I don't need you," she whispered. "Not now." But her voice broke on the last word, betraying her strength. Eli didn't back away. Instead, he carefully set the hammer on a crate beside her, stepped toward the broken shelter, and rested his hand on one of the leaning boards as if silently volunteering. Leah stiffened. Her instinct was to push him away, to protect the fragile world she'd built since Caleb's death. But the reality pressed on her like the cold. She was exhausted, and winter was coming fast, and she was running out of time. Eli's voice was softer when he spoke again. "Let me help. Not because you need me, because I owe Caleb, and because I owe you more than I can ever explain." Leah stared at him, breath trembling, and for the first time since Caleb died, She felt her grief shift, not lighter, not healed, but shifting into something that didn't suffocate her as violently. A gust of wind rattled the half-built structure, and the topboard slipped, nearly falling. Leah lunged instinctively to steady it, but Eli was faster, catching it with one strong hand. They froze, her hand brushing his for a heartbeat that felt too long, too familiar, too dangerous. She jerked away as if burned, pulse racing. Eli didn't react, simply held the board in place and murmured, "Tell me where you want it." Leah hesitated, then exhaled slowly. "Higher, left side." "No more. Yes, there." He lifted it effortlessly, and she nailed it in place, each strike of the hammer echoing like a heartbeat between them. They worked silently for a long stretch, the kind of silence that holds memories, regrets, apologies unsaid. The shed slowly took shape, not perfect, not beautiful, but standing, stable, real. When Leah stepped back, dust in her hair and sweat on her brow despite the cold, she whispered almost to herself, "Caleb would have laughed at this crooked thing." Eli looked at it, then at her, and said quietly, "Caleb would have been proud of you." Her breath hitched, raw emotion rising like a wave. She looked away, blinking fast. The sky darkened as afternoon slipped into evening, turning the fields into a grey ocean of winter. Leah rubbed her hands together, staring at the shelter she had built. No, they had built and felt confusion twist inside her. Eli wasn't supposed to help. He wasn't supposed to show up again. He wasn't supposed to make anything feel something other than grief. But he had, and she didn't know what to do with that. She turned to leave, but Eli spoke again, voice deep with something unspoken. "Leah, tomorrow, let me come back. There's more to fix." She opened her mouth to refuse, but the words stuck to her tongue. She finally said, "We'll see," though her heart whispered yes. Eli nodded once and stepped away, heading toward the main path. As he walked, he paused, looked back over his shoulder, and said something that made her knees weak. "I shouldn't have left. I won't leave again if you'll let me." "Stay." Leah's stomach fluttered with a feeling she hadn't allowed herself in a long time. Hope, or fear disguised as hope. She watched him disappear into the falling dusk, the wind swirling around her like a reminder that change was coming, change she wasn't ready for, but maybe needed more than she realized. She turned back to the crooked shelter and whispered, "Caleb, what am I supposed to do?" But only the wind answered, the frost-covered. Morning stretched across the fields like a pale blanket, and Leah stepped outside, her breath forming small clouds in the icy air as she approached the shelter she and Eli had built, its crooked boards standing stubbornly against the chill, a testament to the work of hands that had both grieved and struggled to survive. Eli was already there, crouched by the fence, adjusting a loose post with precise, careful movements, his eyes briefly meeting hers with a flicker of acknowledgement that made her heart tighten in ways she didn't want to admit. She wanted to be angry, to remind herself of the years he had abandoned them, but instead her steps carried her forward, drawn to the quiet gravity of his presence, the familiarity of a man who had been part of her life even in absence. "Morning," she whispered, her voice fragile, cautious. "Morning," he replied softly, not smiling, just nodding before returning to his work. Silence fell between them, not heavy but charged, filled with unspoken regrets and memories of Caleb, whose laughter and love seemed to linger in the cold air. And slowly, as they worked side by side, repairing the fence and securing planks, the rhythm of their labor became a conversation in itself, hands brushing occasionally, each touch stirring old grief, guilt, and a strange, unfamiliar warmth. Finally, Eli spoke, voice low, rough with emotion. "I never told you why I left before Caleb died." Leah's hands stilled, her chest tightening. "I don't know if I want to hear it," she whispered, though curiosity and the need to understand held her in place. "I was scared," he admitted, eyes dropping, voice trembling, scared of failing, of hurting him, of myself. "I thought leaving would protect everyone, but it didn't. I lost too much, but I'm here now. I won't run again." Leah's emotions collided, anger, relief, grief, and something she couldn't name, all twisting inside her. The day wore on, quiet but alive, hands brushing again, laughter escaping them in small, unexpected moments when the stubborn goats resisted being herded into the shed. The crooked shelter stood firm at last, and snow began to fall gently, soft flakes drifting down to cover the fields and boards, as if the world itself was granting a calm reprieve. Leah looked at Eli, heart trembling, and whispered, "Thank you for being here." He stepped closer, careful not to overwhelm her, voice low but steady. "I promised I wouldn't run again. I'm staying, Leah, as long as you'll let me." She nodded faintly, watching the snow settle over the land, the new shelter, and feeling the fragile, tentative beginnings of trust, hope, and the possibility that even broken pieces of life could be rebuilt together.